So I'd love to just dive a bit into your background. You and I were talking about it over lunch, but I think it would be great for the folks to hear sort of how you went into music to begin with.
Well, I'm the son of a musician. My father played in orchestras for over 50 years, the last 46 in Minnesota, and my brother's a professional musician, so I sort of grew up backstage. And I think I met Heifetz when I was 7 or 8. I met Dizzy Gillespie. I met Miles Davis when I was maybe under 10. So I kind of had that great advantage of just being around it.
You decided to go to law school, which is pretty unorthodox for a musician. So I'm curious what prompted that.
Some of you who know the orchestral world, the way we audition people is you play something and then you play excerpts, fragments of the pieces, and the list for clarinet always has Beethoven 6 and Brahms 1 and Daphnis. And so I played the first excerpt, I think it was Beethoven 6, and and they said next. And so I turned the page and started playing the Brahms, and they said no, next. In other words, the next player. And so as at that point I decided to go to law school right at that moment.
For real?
No. I got through law school, and frankly I considered a few big law firm jobs, and I just missed being around artists. I took a lot of these articles I wrote and sent them to the 15 largest orchestras.
You had made up your mind that you wanted to work within an orchestra.
Yeah, and setting. I said, here's my background, here's my academic, here's transcript, all that stuff, and consider me for whatever you have. The guy who ran the Baltimore Symphony came to me and said, you got to come and you're going to be my assistant. And he took a real chance on me, as he hired me, and he didn't tell me that he was going in for massive brain surgery and that he was going to be out of the office for like 6-7 months. So I got there, and there was the chairman, Joe Meyerhoff, who built the hall, who was probably the biggest, along with Schaefer, the mayor, the biggest guy in Baltimore. And basically, you run the orchestra, kid. I was 20 minutes out of law school. I was actually going to take the bar, and he said, no, you got to get here tomorrow, and don't bother with the bar. You're going to be,
How old were you at the time?
23, 24.
I'm curious about, so you were 20-something, you were thrusted in a situation where you didn't really have any formal preparation, right?
No.
How do you cope with something like that? Because I think a lot of the students in the audience are going to deal with that at one point in their life. Because I think actually it's one of the most fortunate things that can happen to you.
When I talk to students, I emphasize resilience, flexibility, and you guys all, if you're in the music business, you're trained to listen, be alert. And look, I wasn't married, I didn't have kids. Now it'd be hard. I probably was working 90 hours a week. I worked every night and just hustled. I mean, and energy and then spent a lot of time talking to people who knew more than I.
Boston Symphony, there must have been something there about the job that sort of moved you to do it.
It is by far, if you want to make a difference in life, and in terms of making a difference, no orchestra makes a difference in the world like the Boston Symphony. And it's the gestalt of the Boston Symphony and this great hall we have in Boston and this incredible collection of musicians. But then you have the Pops, and then what makes us absolutely unique, and it's almost a spiritual dimension if you talk to people like John Williams, is Tanglewood. And so you have this incredible festival with the Boston Symphony as the core, where the next generation of musicians from all over the globe are trained. We did a survey, because last year was the 75th anniversary of the school, that of the top 10 orchestras, budget-wise, I won't get into subjective measurement, 29% of the players were trained by the Boston Symphony at Tanglewood. We do have a core audience that goes to the hall like they go to church, or they go maybe to the hall instead of church. That being said, we've done well over $100 million in business on the web platform. 10 million households visit it. They're looking at it, and so in Korea, they're not necessarily looking at it to buy a ticket, but we have a YouTube channel. We have a whole series of profiles of players. They get eaten up.
So I'm curious, how have demographics shifted? Have they shifted, since you started?
Well, for us, they've shifted to the positive. We have these college cards that for $25, you can come whenever we have inventory, excess inventory, you can come to a concert, and it's all done obviously through email. Yeah, especially in a city with this incredible concentration of talented college-age kids. We've been very, very proactive of trying to address the price barrier. You have that, you have the Pops, you have family and youth concerts. So part of what we say is we have something for basically everybody.